Good morning, members of the Legislative Committee on Administrative Review. My name is Rod Coronado and I'm a resident of Orange. I'm also the State Director for Vermont Wildlife Patrol and a member of the Pasquayaki Indian Tribe. I'm here on the D&H Rail Trail outside of West Pawlet to provide some attaching testimony to the Act 159 recommended changes to trapping. I wanted to come here to show you exactly the issue that I'm most concerned about within the legislative mandate, and that is the reduction of suffering experienced by animals and traps in Vermont. Right behind me are 3 different traps that are currently set for beaver off of this trail, just 20 feet off this trail, and these traps are set in what trappers call a drowning set. And a drowning set is exactly what it sounds like. It's a trap that's designed that when the animal steps in it, it dives in the water and it's on a cable and it takes it on a one-way system deep enough into water that it can't resurface to breathe, and that's how beavers die in traps in Vermont. Now, the reason this is important for the legislative mandate is body gripping traps like those being used behind me, those are totally excluded from any type of recommended changes by the department in Act 159, and that is because they're underwater traps. All underwater traps or in the water traps are excluded from any recommended changes. So that means that nothing is being done to reduce the level of suffering that animals experience in body gripping traps in the water. And in Vermont, a large majority of trapping takes place in the water for beaver. There have been BMP experiments that have documented that animals, especially beavers, take up to 8 minutes to stop struggling when they're caught in these traps. BMP standards require that animals lose all consciousness within 300 seconds or 5 minutes. So that is where these traps fall short of reducing suffering in animals. I'm going to go ahead and pick up the camera now and just show you what those traps look like. There's also 2 foothold traps that are being used in the drowning set. The body gripping trap is affixed to what looks like a fence-like structure, and the other 2 traps are on the ground. I'm going to show you those. So right here in the water is a body gripping trap. You can't see it with the reflection of the water, but you can see just a few feet away the 2 foothold traps that are set for beaver. They're just sitting right on the surface. Now remember, Vermont Fish and Wildlife will tell you that traps are not set outside of the water except in the regulated trapping season. That is not the case with nuisance trapping in Vermont. These traps are set right here in the end of September on the open ground. You can see the chain there that connects them, leading them into the water. So what I've done here is I've laid a tape measure out from the location of the nearest trap to the trail to kind of illustrate how close this is to the trail. And as you can see, it is only 19 feet. That's 19 feet from here to a body gripping trap that could easily kill a small dog or other animal. And this is right off the D&H Rail Trail outside of West Pawlet. Just want to illustrate. In closing, I just want to say that since January, I've attended every Fish and Wildlife Board meeting addressing these trapping issues. I've written public comments. I've done research. I've asked what I believe are strong, important questions about the BMP testing criteria. And to this day, I've received no answers from Vermont Fish and Wildlife. This is very frustrating. I want to believe that these systems work. I want to believe that they are sincerely trying to change trapping practices to reduce the level of suffering. But the failure to address the research that I've attached to my testimony about the Conibear 220 trap being used for fisher in Vermont, and the situations I've expressed here with drowning sets, those are 2 very clear examples that I believe do not meet legislative mandate with these recommended changes. That is why I'm respectfully requesting that LCAR send this back to the department and ask them to address the issues related to the amount of suffering that occurs in the Conibear 220 and underwater body gripping traps. Thank you.